Okay, so we have quite the changes here. The table of contents takes more of a page than I can actually show. So first things first, Ultimatum League. What do we got going for Ultimatum League? Challenge leagues are a great opportunity for a fresh start in a new economy. All of our old characters and items are still present in the standard and hardcore leagues, but you're encouraged to join the new league, complete challenges, and demonstrate mastery at Path of Exile. Of course. Hold on. Everyone left the doors open when it's like 100 degrees outside. Okay. In the Ultimatum Challenge League, you'll test your skills in the Trial of Chaos. In every area, you'll encounter the Trail Master, who will present you with a reward, objective, and choice of 3 modifiers to add extra challenges to encounters. If you're successful, you must then choose between accepting the reward you've earned and attempting an additional trial with increased difficulty in the hopes of earning additional rewards. Choose wisely, because if you fail, can't seem to keep this door. Additional tries increase difficulty in the hopes of earning additional rewards. Choosing wisely, because if you fail, you lose all the rewards you've earned so far. Each encounter, the Trail Master provides a series of trials with increasing difficulty. In maps, you'll occasionally find inscribed ultimatums, which can be placed in the map device to transport you to a Trail Master domain. Each inscribed ultimatum specifies an offering that you must bring with you, a reward you can earn, and an assortment of ultimatum difficulty modifiers. If you're able to complete the trial, you'll earn specific rewards. However, you fail, you'll forfeit the offering you brought with you. Yep, that's the one that we're talking about with the Exalted Orbs. So, like, if you have 1 Exalted Orb as the cost, you're going to get 2 Exalted Orbs out of it. With 3.14, there are standard, hardcore, solo, self-found variations of Ultimatum League Challenge rewards available. They have same core mechanics and items. You can create private league versions of these leagues with mods that make the game harder. Yep. The new challenge leagues includes a set of 40 new challenges. Of course, 12 challenges, you'll get the helmet, which actually looks pretty cool. 24 challenges, you'll get a little pet. And 36 challenge, you'll get a pretty cool portal effect. These microtransactions are only obtainable in this league, so you won't be able to get them at any other time. So you cannot get that portal from anything else except for here. Interesting. From the 19th challenge onward, for every 3rd challenge, you will receive a piece of the Ultimate Totem, and of course the top piece is an eagle. Alright. Major new content and features. Added a new strength intelligence skill gem, Reap. Basically, this Sith goes across some applying physical damage over time. Debuff and enemies with the physical damage. If enemies survive, you gain a blood charge, which raises both the damage and cost of the skill. So basically, you use it if you hit something, then it gets larger and more damage. Okay. Strength intelligence. This one actually looks kind of interesting. Yeah, it's like so, you know, tendrils that come out, but doesn't it use your own blood as like a sacrifice, right? Strength skill, Petrified Blood, applies a buff that protects the lower half of your life, which, you know, is kind of interesting. Ooh, I don't know, it could be. Can you chain it though with mines? I don't know if it could be used as a mine. It might be like lightning tendrils. I don't think you can use lightning tendrils as that, but I don't know, because it's not a channeling, right? That could be interesting, actually. That could be actually really interesting. Allows chain to be applied. Oh, okay. Oh yeah, you're right. Effects which allow skills to chain can be applied to these tendrils. So yeah, that might be interesting. What does this scale with though? We'll have to look down below. That would be interesting, wouldn't it? Exsanguinate mines. Be the new, like, arc mine. Corrupted Fever, draw out your own blood of power to buff for a duration, letting your skills inflict a corrupting blood debuff on enemies you hit. That could be good for bosses. I don't know if it'd be good so much for regular monsters because you're going to deal so much damage anyways. Hopefully you one-shot them. You might try to make a POB. I think the POB should be out probably tomorrow, right? I don't think it's out yet. I don't think they released it yet. Let's see. Not till the Gem 2020. Okay, yeah, so that's when it's gonna come out tomorrow. Yeah. And I think the gems come out tomorrow. That's what they usually do. I think that's what they said they're gonna do. Yeah, okay. This could be interesting. Gives you an extra buff, durational refresh if you spend enough life before it expires. Interesting. So you could have it permanently go up if you have enough like regen. You like, that would be interesting. So you mix Corrupting Fever with Petrified Blood. Interesting combination. Strength support gem, Bloodthirst, supports attack skills, causing them to deal added physical damage with weapons equal to 2% of your maximum life when on low life. That's a nice support gem. And again, low life is 50% from 30%, so it's a lot easier to get your low life on there. Add a new strength. Cruelty supports skills that hit enemies, causing them to deal more damage with hits. You also gain Cruelty buff, which makes all supported skill gems deal up to 50% more damage over time based on the amount of damage of the initial hit. Meteor Strike? Like damage over time. This would be really good for damage over time builds, or dot builds. All supported skills 50% more damage over time. Could that also work with chaos? Because that's also considered damage over time too. Blood magic support has been removed. Bye bye. 2 new support gems have been added in its place. Arrogance supports any skill with a reservation. Skills reserve life instead of mana and have increased aura effect. Full Dia, thank you for the follow, man. Welcome. The reservation multiplier decreases as the gem level increases. Any existing blood magic support skill gem be converted. Okay, so it's basically the same thing. Supports any life skill costs life instead of mana if you spend a certain. Okay, so aura. So basically, you have the arrogance, which is for auras, and then for skills, you have life tap. That's basically what it comes down to. Yeah. Life tap buff will cause supported skills to deal more damage. So you can use your life to cast skills. Okay. 13 new unique items, 14 divinations. I think those are down below. Ritual to the core game. So you'll get it at 8%, I believe is what they said. Vol Reliquary Key, which can be found in an extremely rare drop throughout the game. When consumed in the map device, it grants you access to an ancient vault with a chest that drops a special foil version. Oh yeah, that's kind of cool. I'm really curious to see what the drop rate is for it. I mean, there's nothing really special about it other than it's a cool foil color. It doesn't change any of the stats or anything on the item, but could be interesting. Veiled Chaos Orb reforges an item similar in the way of the Chaos Orbs, but guarantees the result will have a random veiled modifier, which could be good because they said that the bench crafted veils are actually going to be lower as opposed to the veiled mods. So the veiled mods are actually going to be stronger than what you can bench craft on there. So that could actually be very nice. Hopefully you get a good veiled mod, right? Otherwise you're gonna scour it and use another one. I don't know how common these are gonna be, but I assume they're gonna be pretty expensive. And 6 new vendor recipes. I wonder what they're gonna be. Minor new content and features, various new league rewards such as catalysts, incubators, and scarabs. Yep, that's down below. 5 new sextant modifiers, which will cause the association with Blight, Delirium, Harvest. Okay, cool. Oh, there's Ooh, cool. Blight, so you can get specifically Blight sextant modifiers. That's kind of cool. Atlas map changes. Awaken bonuses no longer provide additional chance to receive an Atlas mission when completing a map. Guess what that means? No more permanent sustain of your mastered missions. Reduce the chance to get any of the other ones to 8%. They moved it from 10 to 8%, so that's why it says 20%. So everything is even now. You'll get an even chance of rolling every single type of content. They'll all be 8% unless modified through Maven. Reduce the chance of map areas that contain the Delirium mirror by approximately 20%. Yeah, of course. It's the same thing right here, right? Why didn't they just put it here? The chance to encounter a Zana mission retaining the Delirium encounter has also been lowered. Okay, Zana is now half as likely to offer a unique synthesis map when offered missions. Yeah, I heard that was pretty overpowered, but I never did Zana missions anyways. Ritual changes. You won't find them until you find maps. Each map 8%. Yep, we already knew that. Ritual splinters will no longer be offered as reward from ritual encounters and maps that have been opened with a blood-filled vessel. Okay, that's fine. Added 4 ritual Atlas passive nodes. Hallwork Hamlet for ritual, so that you can have ritual encounters. Yeah. Also 3 ritual watchstone modifiers, so you can get ritual counters on watchstones. Cool. Harvest changes. This is where it's going to be like the biggest problem, guys. This is really important to pay attention to. It really does affect pretty much everyone across the board. Unfortunately, the version of Harvest was active during the Ritual League was far too rewarding. No duh. Various adjustments have been made to Harvest crafting, and the chance to encounter the portal in Sacred Grove has been increased. Yeah, they increased it from 5% to 8%. Basically, they just made it in line with everything else. But they also, like, we'll read down below, they also increased the chance of rolling it with you know, the modifiers from 2% to 3%, so that's kind of cool. We have published a development manifesto that goes into more detail about the changes, the reasoning behind them. Yes, kind of, but this actually gives more detail than what what the manifesto says. Increases the chance of map areas to contain the Sacred Grove by 60%. The chance to encounter a Zana mission requiring you to complete a harvest encounter has also been increased, so you can get more harvest in Zana missions now. That's kind of nice. The Sacred Grove now contains a minimum of 3 pairs of plots that can be harvested from. So instead of sometimes you go in and you only have like one choice between 2 of them, you now will have 3 of them. So essentially you'll have 6, right? You'll have 6 harvest areas, but you have to choose one of the 2. So that's good, because I hated going into ones and there's like, you get to choose between this one or this one. Good luck. There's nothing else here for you. So that's really good. That's good. Heart of the Grove encounter will no longer appear in place of normal harvest encounters. Instead, it will be accessed through the Sacred Blossom map fragment that sometimes drops from tier 4 maps. That's really nice. I never actually ever got Heart of the Grove on any of my maps last league. I had to pay people for it. I never once got it. It was crazy. So this is good. So now when you kill a tier 4 boss, basically the tier 4 seed, you will get fragments from it. That's cool. Completing the Heart of the Grove encounter for the first time now unlocks 5 additional Hoarder crafting station crafting slots. Yay! Allowing you to store a maximum of 15 crafting options. That's better. I think it should be a little bit more, like 20, but 15 is, we'll take 15. We'll take what we can get. Craft's no longer guaranteed from seeds. Basically before, it was every seed you had would give you a craft. So now they're changing it. Now seeds tier 1, 2, and 3 each have a chance to refine a craft, with the tier 4 seed still guaranteeing a craft. So if you have a tier 4 seed, always run it, because you'll get a tier 4 craft out of it, guaranteed. Please note that the number of tier 2 and tier seeds encounters and harvest plots has remained unchanged. So it's still going to be the same, but you're just getting less of them. So the counters remain changed as they were before. Some crafts that had overly deterministic behaviors have been removed. Okay, this is where it's really important. Okay, these include most annulment type crafts that removed a modifier of a specific type. So there is no like remove physical or remove defense or something like that, right? So they removed most of them. Okay, they said most, not all of them. We don't know which ones, but they removed most of the annulment types. So remove lightning, remove cold, remove fire, remove attack modifiers, like, you know, those things all are gone. Okay, they're gone. And all type specific divine crafts. So divine crafts basically, you know, it's a reroll, right? So reroll cold. So those are all gone. Yeah, I know, there goes all your monies. However, I'll talk about something that actually is going to be very, very, very good to get if you get it. Okay, there are some crafts that are going to be extremely expensive this league. And then we'll talk about the risks of actually selling them in a minute as well, because they did change their terms of services. So I do want to mention it. I don't know if they're going to enforce that, but they did change their terms of services that could possibly include what I'm going to talk about in just a minute. It's really kind of, you don't know for sure, but they could. Some crafts that had overly deterministic behaviors have been removed. These include, oh yeah, we already read that one. Type specific exalted crafts that augmented modifiers of specific types to items can now only be applied to non-influenced items. That is really important. That means you cannot do augment physical for the exploding chest. It's gone. You cannot do augment physical for exploding chest. You cannot do augment anything, because augment means exalted orb. So you cannot, anything that was an exalted one cannot be done. However, this does not apply to existing modifiers, which apply influence modifiers to an already influenced item. So anything that says add influence to influence, you can still do those. So to a point, yes, you can still get exploding chest, but if we look at Craft of Exile, right? So we look at, let's just pull up a chest piece here, just to show you like what exactly or what is going on here. Volreeve, where are you? There we go. Okay, so we have the Crusader, right? The Explode. So you got to remember that when you use a harvest craft, it counts the weight of the item. So you need to have on that base, you need to have all of your suffixes full, so it can't roll a suffix, and then your prefixes need to be completely empty when you augment on your influences, and you'll have, you know, this chance of getting it. But you will still only have, even if you roll like two of the, let's say you get these two here, you still have a 25 in 525 chance. Like, that's not very good odds of getting an explode chest. So can you get explode chest through harvesting? Yes. Are you gonna get it like guaranteed like you could this league? Absolutely not. So explode chest, bye bye. It's pretty much gone. Like it's toast. Also, explode chest got a huge nerf. We'll go into that in a minute too. Oh, they've reamed explode chest. We'll go into that in a little bit in here, what they did to it. They basically, explode chest is like completely not useful. Now it's going to be impulses is what people are going to go for. So if you get an impulses, hold on to it. The price is going to skyrocket. So the craft that is going to be very anything influenced, anything that says influenced, add influence, remove influence, or whatever type of influence on there, those crafts are going to be super expensive this league. Now here's why I want to mention the issue with this. Okay, we know that TFT Discord is very popular and that GGG does not like the TFT Discord. They did change their terms of services to state that you cannot receive any type of reward outside of the game for in-game play. So that could mean that if you receive anything in Discord, like say a vouch for something, they can ban you for it because you are getting a reward for something in game. Now, are they going to go to that extent of actually banning people or giving out warnings or something like that? I don't know, but I know they really don't like the TFT Discord, and they don't like the way that it is and how many people have been scammed on there. It causes a lot of problems in the game. I don't know, but they probably could. So, do you want to sell on the TFT Discord when they change their policies to possibly ban you for doing that? Probably not worth doing it. So I think it would still be okay to do like boss carries. Even that, you're still getting a reward, right? So I don't really know what they plan on doing with that change to the terms of services, but that is really important to pay attention to because it could play a role in this league. Crafts that added random atlas influence to type certain types of non-influence items have been removed, so bye-bye. In their place, crafts that randomize the existing influence on an item, also reforging it, and new modifiers have been added. Okay. Rebalance the weightings of seeds so that you're seeing type-specific crafts at a more equal rate, for example, cold, fire, and lightning. The weightings of crafts have also been rebalanced so that more powerful crafts, such as exalted crafts, so any of the augments, are even rarer now than they were before, and they were already pretty rare, so now they're even more. Weaker crafts, such as set an item to 3 sockets, have also been removed, making the higher tier versions of these crafts more common. Okay, so they made them rare, but because they're removing a bunch of other crafts, hopefully it doesn't make it as rare. I don't know, we'll have to see. D2 JSP is definitely being targeted. Yep, exactly. Yep. Other league changes, general changes will be rebalanced league specific rewards, providing far more readily through the content compared to the original league content. Some rewards will now be exclusive to their respective leagues. You know, we did see some of like for instance, yeah, they say here staging advice is now almost exclusively available as a reward from Abyssal Depths encounters, and Delirium orbs are now exclusive to Delirium encounters, so you can't get them through any other things, which is good because, you know, we were starting to see a lot of like oils and other things that were spread out onto all of the other content, and it kind of diluted the market for running those specific types of content. So now we can, you know, run those blighted, and only those people who are running blights are going to get the oil, so oil prices should go up. Stitching and vises are also going to go up because I know I don't like doing Abyssal Depths. They're just a pain, and it's like backtracking in a map most of the time. You open it up and it like travels backwards on your map, and you're just like, ugh. If it goes the same direction as the map you're going, then great, but if it turns around and goes backwards, it's like, it just takes up time and for very little reward. So I always just skipped them because it was just not worth it, unless it's like you're going for the count of everything, right? You can now find abyss scarabs from various sources. Each scarab guarantees an abyss encounter. Rare abyss jewels that dropped from abyssal troves now use the well rolled modifier system. Hey, so now when you get a rare abyss jewel, it's going to give you tier 1s like they did in Heist League, so that's really cool, instead of getting random like tier 4s, 5s, 7s, whatever. Added several new abyss jewel modifiers. Ooh, please read the abyss jewel balance section below. That's kind of cool. Blight changes. Here's what we really like. Blighted maps can now be corrupted with outcomes similar to regular maps. Chests in these maps have a chance to drop tainted oils, which can be used to anoint corrupted items. Yes! Since that's what we run for like the first like week or 2 weeks of the league, or blighted maps, this is huge. This is absolutely huge. Huge. Another thing with this is blighted maps now apply map item quantity modifier to the blight chest at 20% of their total value. This is great. So the reason this is really important, we're just gonna skip down here real quick. We're gonna skip to the oils. We'll come back. I want to go to these oils so you can kind of see why this is really huge and why we're going to be changing our type of oils here. So they changed some of the oils, added new things, removed a couple things. The one that really kind of hurts is right here. Teal oils no longer give 5 blighted chests to be lucky for each oil. It's gone. They don't give any of that now. But they do reduce the duration of the encounter. So if you have 3 of them, you know you're reducing it by 2 minutes, right? So instead of 5 minutes, it's 3 minutes. So you can run them faster, you can run more of them. So that's good, right? This is the one that's going to be probably what we'll be running for a while. Gives, you know, 35% increased experience, or, you know, we'll just stick to the 3 clears because 3 clears is totally OP. But if you want to get more experience, you know, you can get 100% more experience by doing 3 verdant oils on there. And you get less pack size because it used to be 15%, so now it's 5. So that's really good. Now here's the one that I really like, is right here. Violet oils now grant 30% increased quantity of items found in the area. Now you run 3 of those, that's 90, or let's say that's no longer, wait, which one was it? Where is it? Oh yes, down here, sorry. So we don't get quantity of items anymore on violets, they took that out. But they give a chance for an additional reward, which you're running 13 lanes basically equates to about 3 lanes are going to have an additional reward. So instead of 4 chests, you'll have 5 chests. So you're getting 3 additional rewards per map. That's not really worth it, especially since the indigo ones here, or I mean the azure ones here, give you 4 chests to be lucky. I mean, I don't think an additional reward is better than a lucky chest. I think lucky chests are going to be better than an additional reward, to be honest. Opalescence now causes very items to 15 blight chests to be lucky. So they changed, you know, from silver it's now opalescence. So they lowered it. So the lower the cost is better. And they reduced the pack size from 25 to 5%, so that makes it like actually worth going for. Let me adjust my camera real quick right here because we're kind of getting some, there we go. So that's really good, right? And silver oils, this is where the quantity comes into effect at 20%. Okay, so if this now grabs 65% increased quantity of items found in the area, so this gets put onto the map as a modifier, right? So you have 3 of these, which gives you 195% increased quantity, plus I think you can have like easily 50% quantity on a map normally, plus you're gonna put, you know, the quality on there too. You know, you're looking at like 250% quantity of items. Now remember, it only takes 20% of that, so we have to pull this up on our calculator, right? So if we have 250, we times that by 20%, right? So we're gonna have a 50% increase in the amount of drops we're gonna get. So for every 2 items we get an additional item. That is crazy. Again, that is silver, so that is going to be very expensive because since this is league specific content, I don't think you're going to see it on any other content because that's what they said they were doing. So you're going to be seeing less oils in general, so oil prices are going to be higher this league. But this silver oil, 50% more items from the maps, that might offset the silver price, because if you get like 5 oil ones and then you get, you know, you get like 50, you normally would get 50 oils, you're now going to get 75 oils out of it. That's pretty dang good. That's really good. Yeah, that's pretty cool. And then we're also getting, you know, you can find blight scarabs and various, and it gives 50% chance for blight chests to contain an additional reward or blight lanes to contain an additional reward. That's on the map, right? That's not on a blighted map, that's on a regular map. So I mean, that's kind of cool, but I think you can run it normally this league. Betrayal changes. I never did betrayal. If you do betrayal, go ahead, you do betrayal. I'll let you read that. I don't really do those. New Beastcraft recipes, that's going to be kind of cool. Splitting an item through Beastcraft now applies split modifiers to both items, preventing further splitting. This basically means that we are no longer getting, you know, 6 white links base chests for like 25 chaos, 50 chaos. Okay, that's gone. So anytime you have something really good and you split it, that's it, right? You can't split it anymore. You can still mirror the item, but you cannot split it. Once you split it, it's toast. Party members that are not the map creator are now required to be within 250 radius, roughly 2 screens of the captured beast in order for it to be added to their menagerie. This is basically a nerf to multi-boxers, right? So some people were just going in, they'd do a beast, they'd have one person who would go kill all the beasts and everyone would get them. So essentially people were running you know, VMware or, you know, virtual machines. They were running 6 clients at once. One client would be their main computer and all their other additional ones would be on the virtual machines, and they would all be in the same party. They'd go kill the beast. They'd get 5 beasts, right? But they get 5 times 6 because that's how many they were getting, so they'd get 30 beasts per map. Now each one of those now has to be in a 250 unit radius, which is, you know, 2 screens, to be able to get that beast. So they have to be running with that person to capture it. So that basically eliminates that part because it really was overpowered. People were totally abusing that. They're getting hundreds and thousands of beasts a week and just selling them for a massive profit with like no investment. So they nerfed that one. This is also really huge. Blessings, man. Blessings can be used to upgrade an associate breachstone to a higher tier version. So blessings that used to cost like 10 to 1 chaos are now going to be extremely expensive, right? Because you can take a charged and upgrade it. So I mean, that's going to be really good for blessings, which also means that all the breachstones are also going to be increased in price, just because they'll want to get those blessings, right? So people are going to be running the bosses. So you can kind of see there's going to be an increase across the board for all breachstones and of course for the blessings. Delirium changes, they basically balanced a ton of cluster jewels, which is down below. Basically they're nerfing like everything. Delve changes, this is kind of cool. Rebalance the way that makes better rewards appear earlier, so instead of having to be like 1000 depth for fractured fossils, it's going to be a lot less. I don't know what they didn't say what exactly they were doing, but basically it's going to be a lot earlier to get fractured fossils, so there's going to be more fractured fossils. But there's a big change to fractured fossils, which you know, changes how much fractured fossils are gonna be, and what's really cool, they no longer provide such an exponential increase to the rate of encounters at high tier rewards. So there's no real benefit of going super deep anymore, other than claiming the title of being the deepest delve diver of the league. Fractured fossils now apply split modifiers to both items. Okay, this is where it really sucks. It prevents further duplication. As a result, fractured fossils can no longer be applied to items that cannot be split, such as synthesized, enchanted, fractured, or influenced items. Ouch. Ouch. So this hurts for crafting as well as it does for 100% Delirium map. Bye bye 100% Delirium stain. It's gone. You can no longer, it is now useless to map does not use sextants, because as soon as you use a fractured fossil on it, the original one becomes split, and so does the one that you just copied. So now both of them are splits. They cannot be copied any further, and they are toast, right? So there's no point, there's no 100% Delirium sustain anymore. You cannot run 100% Delirium map like you could before. Now you're just gonna have to stick a bunch of Delirium orbs on them and then just run them, and you're gonna run out of sextant uses. Sorry, that's gonna happen. That's just how it is. Same thing goes for for the blueprints for heist. So no more running the super OP blueprints, are done. So same thing, can't use a split beast on it to share it with someone else. It's basically you can run it a maximum of 4 times. So you can get the original one, you can use a fractured fossil on it, that gives you 2. Nope, sorry, only 3 times, because then when you use a fractured, it's considered a mirror and split. So it gets mirrored and split when you use a fractured fossil. But you can still use a mirror if you want to use a mirror on 100% Delirious map or on a blueprint. So technically it's going to be 2, but it is for 3 technically if you want to use a mirror on it. Essence changes, lots of essence changes. I'll let you guys read that. Heist changes, you know, they basically lowered the amount of experience required to level up, so it's going to be, you can get your level 5s a lot faster than you could before. This is really cool. So you can now convert your completed and ready to run temple into a tradable object that can be consumed in the map device. You'll need access to the map device to use the convert functions. So cool. So instead of having this, again, this is directly and related to the TFT Discord. You can now take that temple run and sell it to someone else. And now, so if you have a, you know, remnant of corruption in there, you can buy the remnant of the corruption map and not have to go through the TFT Discord to have someone else do it for you. You buy that map, you run it, you get to do it yourself. Awesome. Sucks for the TFT Discord again. So this is like another smack to their face. They made lots of changes, which is really cool. Specific rooms can drop unique incursion items that can later be upgraded. They also made it so that the temple boss is actually useful to kill now, instead of before where he'd like just basically dropped random things. Now he drops like specific items that are incursion specific. Yeah, corrupting altar and Oriani's is 4x at least. Yeah, but it's going to be on the actual map, so it actually might go down in price because, you know, people don't always like, you know, sell them, right? They would kind of use them themselves, or, you know, even just like skip over it if they didn't even really care. They're just doing it for the map quantity. So this is really good. So that might increase the amount of you know, corruption altars and Doriani's, increase the amount, so it could lower the price, right? So that could be really good. And you definitely know there's going to be scalpers out there that are buying low and selling high. You know that's going to happen just because it's going to be increased towards the 2nd month of the league, the 3rd week. The cool thing here, the more high tier rooms you have, the better your items are going to be. That's really cool. Yep, at least it increases supply. Yeah, so it increases the supply. The Shrine of Empowerment room in the now randomly empowers 1 connected room that is tier 2 or below and upgrades it by 1 tier, which is cool. So you, technically you could have, if you have a Shrine of Empowerment next to like one of your corruption altars, maybe you'll be turned into a tier 4. That would be kind of cool. But if you only get it to a tier 2 and you have, you know, the empowerment room next to it, it turns it into a tier 3. So that's pretty cool. That's actually really nice. Table of Sacrifice in the Hall of Offerings now allows you to sacrifice a unique item for another random unique of the same item class. Instead of just a random one, it gives you the same class. That's kind of cool. The monster killed progress in Temple Incursions has been updated slightly to make it easier for you to see if you have killed all the monsters in the incursion. Yay! Because there's always that like 1 or 2 you're like, is that done all the way? Legion encounters added 3 new incubators related to Blight, Delirium, and Metamorph, which is really nice. So you'll be able to get oils, or my guess is mostly oils, but maybe you can get like Blight specific uniques or something. I don't know. Delirium, Metamorph. So Delirium, you know, is going to be like a Delirium orb or a cluster jewel. Metamorph is going to be one of the samples. Abyssal incubators can now drop Abyss Scarabs. That's nice. Cartographer incubators can now drop Shaper and Elder Influence maps. Yay! Along with Delirium orbs applied to them. Cool. More Incubator Changes. Foreboding Incubator can now drop Harbinger Scarabs. Ancient Orbs can now only be dropped from Foreboding Incubators of level 68 or higher. Oh, I don't think that really makes a difference. I'll tell you why. Ancient Orbs, this is my humble thinking, because Headhunters are now going to be dropped in any location, but they said they're still going to be super rare, but they can be dropped in any location, right? They don't have to be specific because they removed that specific type of drop. They can be dropped from any type of monster at any time. I think there's going to be a lot more supply of Headhunters. So Headhunters are usually, Ancient Orbs are directly based off of the Headhunter price. So if a Headhunter is 20x, right, let's just say that hopefully, you know, they keep everything 100 to 1, which would be awesome if we could do that for a second league in a row. That would be great. So let's just say it's 2000 chaos, right, for 20x for a Headhunter, because there's going to be a huge supply of them. I don't think it's going to be that price right away, but probably about week 3 or 4, my guess is probably going to drop dramatically down to probably about 20x. That's just going off of, you know, a lot of people playing, people selling them off. So 20x, we'll just say 20x. So if we take that, you take the average number of Ancient Orbs that it takes to roll a Headhunter, so we can just throw an Ancient Orb on any random belt whenever we get the Ancient Orb and get it on any map, which is kind of cool. We'll just, it's about 350. So we divide that by 350, and this gives you your chaos price right here of how much an Ancient Orb should cost this league. So 5.7 chaos per Ancient Orb. That's, I mean, that's great for chancing. If you want to chance your first Headhunter, which I have never been successful, even though we've done over 2,000 Ancient Orbs and have not gotten one stinking Headhunter. This is the league to do it. As long as the Headhunter price goes down to where I think it's going to go, just because it's going to be more common, and it's not only going to be the top guys selling it, where, you know, they can have like 20 Headhunters, but they're only selling one at a time because they don't want to flood the market. So even though they have 20 of them, they're only selling one at a time, and as they sell them, they make more money, and then they put the other ones on the market as they go. So now, instead of having, you know, 20 people having just Headhunters and selling the whole entire market, and now you have hundreds of people selling a Headhunter, which lowers the price because everyone wants to sell it, so there's more supply than there is demand, and the price is going to drop. So I think that's going to be a huge thing. Metamorph Changes, I really don't care about Metamorphs, but they did add a new catalyst, so you can enhance critical modifiers and physical and chaos damage modifiers. Okay, those are the cool two things. 10% more damage from Tane's Laboratory, and have 80% more health. So they have a lot more health and they deal more damage, so it's gonna be a little harder. Parandus Changes, source of Parandus coins have had their coin counts normalized. Basically, there was a harvest craft which you could take a unique item, turn into Parandus coins, get like 7,000 Parandus coins from it for like 2 chaos. So they fixed that. And then Cordero has been modernized and their costs have been adjusted accordingly. Okay, no scroll fragments in exchange for Parandus coins. Fractured items no longer have a visual effect applied to them, so they don't look cool anymore. Talismans no longer drop using a well-rolled modifier system. I mean, they say that the talismans were overpowered. I never saw that, but I mean, 99% of the time talismans were crap, so I never used it. This is really cool. Labyrinth is really nice. The daily Labyrinth ladder has been retired. Labyrinth unique jewels have been previously obtained by completing the labyrinth. The fastest in a certain difficulty can now be attained as rare rewards from Azzaro's treasure chest in the eternal and enriched eternal labyrinth. Yay! This is cool. For example, after completing a labyrinth, a window will display where you will have an option to pick one of 3 helmet enchants. They also showed, so like in the Eternal one, you get, you know, it gives you the chance to get a helmet. So you'll have a boot, a gloves, and 3 helmet enchants. So you'll have 5 5 enchants to choose from each time you do one of the Eternal Labyrinths, which is really cool because then you can also use the Prophecy and you can use the twice enchant to get like what, 24 types of enchants in there. That's pretty cool. You get to only choose 3 of them, but you have 24 to choose from each time you do this. That's really, really, really nice. It's going to be lab running actually worth it for the majority of people. Those people who run labs consistently, I'm sorry, it's probably going to hurt you guys a little bit just because there'll be more supply of the targeted type of enchants. So the prices are going to be lower, which is good for the general public, because before, to get like a good helmet was like 30, 40, 50x to get just the base with the enchant on it. So that's going to be better for people because there's going to be more supply. Labyrinth runners, it might be a downside because, you know, you're going to have to sell more to make up the cost of the supply. Character balances, this is really cool. We kind of mentioned this. So before it was, you know, 30-35% for low life. Now it's at 50%, which is really nice. They basically made a ton of changes to life reservation and how that all works. I'll let you read all that. I'm not gonna go into it. Skill balances, anger had a slight buff at level 1. And a slight buff at level 20, so that's kind of nice. So anger is actually more useful to use. Divergent quality now causes buff to grant spell damage. Okay, we don't care. The blade blast flat up nerf by 3 to 5%, and the you know, this took a 25% cut in damage for the level 20. So that one hurts. Blade Vortex took a huge hit. So base duration is 4 seconds from 5 seconds. It was already hard enough to sustain at 10 while continuously moving. Now they made it even harder. So getting to that 10 is going to be, you're going to be stopping a lot more often. Also, the radius was cut in half. So that kind of sucks. Added damage effectiveness is 20%, so the damage effect is 5% less, and your damage was also cut by about 20%. So Blade Vortex took a huge cut in damage. Blade Storm now deals more damage with bleeding while in blood stance, so Blade Storm might be the new Blade Vortex. Flesh and Stone now requires 35%, so it took a 10% increase in mana reservation. That's okay. I'm just glad they didn't put it at 50%. So it's still usable. I think it's still going to be very, very nice, especially with the new skills that are coming out. Frost Bomb, basically it only does -15 from 20, so it took a 10% reduction, so you basically lost a lot of damage there. Punishment now takes 40 to 78% increased damage while left from 50 to 88, so it took a 10% cut on punishment. Seismic Cry took a 10% damage cut. Spellslinger no longer activates if there's no valid links, which is fine, but you cannot use it with granted by items. So if you had like you know, trap support, whatever, you can't use Spellslinger with it now. Carrion Golem, this kind of hurts. The Golem's Cascade, which is their slam skill, is now at a 6 second from a 4 second, so they increased it by 50%. So now they cast a lot slower, and also they lowered the distance of which it travels and has less area of effect. So not only did they increase the amount of time it takes for them to cast it by 50%, they shortened the distance and less AoE effect. Carrions are basically only there for supports now. They also deal 11% less damage at all gem levels. So Carrion Golems, bye-bye. Looks like we're going to be going Stone Golems if we decide to go to like a Golem class. Oof. Toxic Rain took a huge split as well. Range of spore pods from toxic rain is now affected by area effect modifiers. This means that having a higher area effect causes the resulting spore pods to spread out more, which basically means less damage because you want them to be a lot closer. But the spread range from the spore pods has been lowered. Okay, so you have less AoE but more spread. Each spore pod applies 5% less movement speed nearby to enemies from 10, so it took a 50% cut in movement speed to a maximum of 30% from 60%. So huge cut in movement speed. Vigilant strike, never used. A vitality now causes you to nearby enemies to regen 10 life from 15, so it took a 33% hit amount of life that you would regen. Again, another 30% right there from maximum life as well. Those are all huge bonuses. Wave of Conviction got a buff actually, which I'm actually surprised for damage. However, the exposure took a 10% cut from 25 to 10%. So they tried to make it up with the effectiveness, damage effectiveness, but they increased the damage at which it gives at level 1 and slightly increased the damage at level 20. So Wave of Conviction got a buff and a nerf. Most people didn't use Wave of Conviction for the damage aspect of it. They used it for the exposure. So I think that's going to be a pretty rough, you know, hit to Wave of Conviction. It still makes it useful because it gives 15%, but it's not as good as the 25% as it was. Again, people don't really use it for the physical aspect or the damage aspect of it. Vol skills. I mean, you know, here's a straight up nerf to Vol Blade Vortex. We knew this was coming. Damage effectiveness was cut by 15%. They basically increased how long, like how quickly it hits people. So that's another damage. That's another damage on top of this. Base duration of 5 seconds from previously 3. So that's actually a buff. It actually lasts a little bit longer. Now stores 2 uses from 1, so you can get 2 of them at a time, which is actually kind of nice. Now soul gain prevention for 6 seconds, previously 5. So now it takes longer for it to go, but you can get 2 stacks of it, so that's kind of cool. But it's still, it's pretty bad. Burning Arrow, Cold Snap, we didn't really use a Cyclone. This is one I was actually really interested in. Now it deals 80% of base attack damage at level 1. Ooh, that's a huge buff. 30% increased damage at level 1 and 99% of base attack damage at level 20 from 61. Wow, Cyclone has a huge damage buff. Now has 30% of base attack speed, previously 400, so it got a slower attack speed but huge increase in damage. Now expends 25 soul per use, previously 35. So now it uses less. That's kind of cool. Now has a soul gain prevention duration of 5 seconds from 7, so that's a buff. Cyclone basically got buffed. Ball Cyclone at least. Didn't use any of those or those. Ice Nova basically got a buff for damage wise, which is good for those cast on crit people. Again, these are all, you know, ball skills. Volreeve got a huge buff. It got 50% increased base damage and 250 from 180. Look at that. 70% increase there for damage. 25 instead of 30, which is good. Now stores 3 uses. Now soul gain prevention for 2 seconds, previously 4 seconds. So Volreeve is going to be used very, very frequently. Very, very quick consecutive uses. That's going to be a pretty good one. All Righteous Fire and now deals 80 to 90% from 161 to 180. Okay, that's a 50% reduction, guys. Now sacrifice 60% of your total energy shield and life from 30%. Ouch. So you got Vol Righteous Fire cut in half for damage, and you take twice as much damage when you use it, but it gives you another nerf on spell damage by 25%. Now it has a soul gain prevention of 6 seconds from 12, so you can now use it twice as fast, but it will kill you twice as fast. Okay. Vol Spark now has a soul gain prevention of 5 seconds from 6, so that's a buff for Vol Spark. Spectral Throw, Storm Call, okay. Gem supports Brutality, now supports any skill that deals damage previously required to spell to hit an enemy. So Brutality, ooh. Now Brutality is actually going to be very useful for a lot of builds. Basically anything. That's cool. Passive tree, you can look into that if you like. This one's cool. Scion gives you granted increased melee physical damage, are no longer restricted to melee only, so if you're ranged you can use that and it'll help you out. That's cool. Chain Breaker no longer causes you to lose 5 rage when you hit. No more than once every 0.3 seconds can now cause a skill to cost +3 rage. We didn't really use any of those. Atlas passive bonuses. You can read through these as you want. Basically they're just balancing some of the ones that were super overpowered, you know, this one right here. The yellow beast to a red beast, they basically cut it in half because you're getting too many red beasts, and cause, you know, an excess number of powerful ones. This is kind of cool. Here's a little buff for you for Sacred Grove. Now gives 3% chance for a grove instead of a 2%, so you got a 50% increase on that specific node. Bumper crops no longer cause harvest in the area to be double bonuses in item quantity and rarity. Heart of the Grove no longer grants 100% increased chance for area to contain a Heart of the Grove, and now causes harvest bosses in area to always drop a Sacred Blossom. That's kind of nice. Scion now possesses 5 rare monsters, previously 20. There's a 75% nerf for you. Pack with Energy now gives 1% to all maximum elemental resistance for each volatile sulfite vein or chest found in areas. Wow. That's kind of cool. I didn't even know that existed. Cool. Yeah, I mean, there's not really much. There's a lot of changes. You can read through them. There's lots of changes. Ascendancy balances. The only ones that we really care about. This one now 15% more damage from hits and ailments against enemies that are on low life, now from 25, so that took a huge hit. Primal Aegis now takes 75 damage per allocated notable passive skill from 100, so that's a buff. Liege of the Primordial is no longer possible to temporarily bypass your golem limit. For example, if your golems died very quickly with the flesh, create a unique body armor. Yeah, so this is the one that had, you know, the 150 golem spawn that didn't do anything because they eventually had like nothing and they just, you know, continually died. They fixed that. Necromancer and Sun Glutony now causes you to regenerate 4% of mana over 2 seconds from 8% when you consume a corpse. That's a 50% nerf on mana regeneration, guys. Pathfinder Master Surgeon now removes corrupted blood when you use a flask. That's nice. This hurts, guys. So mana regeneration is going to be harder. Item balances. The one that we really look at is Quiver is no longer rolled the global critical strike chance, global critical strike multiplier, or global damage over time multiplier modifiers. Basically, they took out the quivers from, you know, being useful. They can now roll critical strike chance with bows, critical strike multiplier with bows, and damage over time multiplier with attacks. Existing items cannot obtain newer modifiers through divine orbs. So, which I don't think you would want to do that. That'd be stupid. Hunter Influence Quivers no longer roll global physical. Basically, they're changing things, right? So they can now roll physical, fire, chaos damage over time with attack skill modifiers. So there's no global anymore. It's specific to attack skills. It's a hit because people were using bows and quivers for everything. Now you got that cut. Physical damage over time multiplier has been added as a wands and staff prefix. Physical damage over time modifier can now be rolled on cobalt jewels. Cool. Instead of just Viridian and Crimsons, can now be rolled on all 3. 6% chance for poisons inflicted with this weapon to deal 100% more damage has been removed. This replaced Elder Influence weapon can now roll a new local poison damage overtime multiplier. Okay. Elder Shaper Sextant modifiers, which granted players deal % damage for each poison them and have movement speed for each poison on them, and areas containing X additional packs poisonous monster has been removed. Bye bye. No more 1200% damage increase and 600% movement speed. It's gone. Bye. Watchstones that don't have sextant modifiers applied to them can be imprinted once again. This is crazy. So if it doesn't have a sextant on there, you can imprint it. So if it gets down to like 1, then you can imprint it back up to its maximum number. That's really nice. But it cannot have a sextant on there. If it has a sextant modifier on there, you cannot imprint it. You no longer obtain the areas have 2% chance to grant Atlas mission completion. The 4% and 6% versions of this modifier can still be obtained. So they basically took out the lowest one and kept the 4 and 6. Flask can no longer be obtained from the Fateful Meeting divination card. That's unfortunate. Unique blight items have been anointed. Now show their passive skills information when hovered. Yay! The treasure modifier on Strongbox now grants a 100 to 250 from more rarity contained items from 1000 to 2000. Wow! 10 times less. 1/10. Wow, okay. The Forbidden Wood and Silo maps can no longer roll the twin modifiers. Wow! 1/10. That's crazy. Okay. Essence changes. Actually is a 10% buff to avoid being ignited to helmets and boots. Yep, Screaming Essence can now reforge rare items, which is nice. Impale effect to melee weapons. This is a buff for armor buff. Armor for belts has been buffed. More armor on belts has been buffed. No more grants physical attack, no more leech on your essence here. Chaos damage now grants added local, added chaos damage to weapon, and attacks to quivers. Interesting. No longer grants physical projectiles and additional target to quivers. Ouch. Now grants physical damage, leeches mana to quivers. Ouch, this one hurts. I know some people that you'd use these for piercing. Now you have to get the piercing quiver. Being stunned has been buffed by 10% for the top. Freaking Essence, maximum energy shield has been buffed. That's nice. Basically they're buffs on every single thing. Maximum energy shield on boots, gloves, shields, body armors, all buffed by a little bit. Zeals, Warcry speed to helmets, which is kind of would be nice, but I don't use Warcries. Essence of Delirium no longer grants chaos damage, leeches life. Now grants 10% damage over time multiplier to amulets. That's gonna hurt those chaos damage guys. No longer grants 40% increased damage with poisons. Basically they don't like poison. Hexes you reflect have 5% maximum doom to rings, 15% chance to block spell damage while no life shields. Okay, I know someone that is actually that's going to be useful for them. Essence Horror, the cheer and by enemies when you block modifier granted to shields now has a greater radius. Okay. Oh, this is a big one. No longer grants socket gems have 50% chance to ignite. Okay, bye bye. Socket gems deal 30% more damage while in low life. 20% area of effect to body armors. Previously 10. Ooh. That's big. Buff to fire damage if you've ever used it for that. Recovery from life leech was 40, now it's 150% increased. Wow. That's a big buff. Fire burst now has one. Okay, yeah. Big buff on fire burst. Wow. Two times the damage, right? Yeah. Okay. Are they gonna give us something for minions and taking the minions out? You and your minions take 40% reduced reflected damage to rings. Previously 10. Okay. That's good. Power charge when you block. Previously 10. Ooh, I know someone that's gonna help too. That's really nice. Spectral spirits summoned from your weapons modifiers now do 32% more damage. That's kind of cool. Abyssal jewel balance. Basically it's a buff across the board. Every one of these, they're all buffs. Okay, they're all buffs. There's no negatives in here. It's all buffs. Cluster jewels. The phlebotomist is really cool. New cluster, so grants 14% of physical damage over time multiplier if you've dealt a critical recently, and 20% increased critical strike chance. That's pretty nice. Cluster jewels that were ones that we were looking at. Brand loyalty now causes enemies to take 4% increased damage for each brand from 5%, so it took a 20% nerf in damage. Let's see. First among equals. I know a lot of people use this. It's down to 6% now from 8%. I think it was at 10% before, so they just cut it down another 2% on top of it. Let's see. Rend no longer grants a 12% to damage over time multiplier for bleeding. It now grants 12% to physical damage over time multiplier. Basically, it's just renaming it. Renewal, this one kind of hurts us. Causes minions to have a 5% chance to deal double damage when full life from 6, so it took a 1% cut, or sorry, a 1% cut essentially. Cluster jewels, replenishing presence now grants 6% increased effect of non-effects from 8%, so there's another cut for aura stackers. You know, it's basically just a lot of nerfs. Surprise sabotage now grants 8% to critical strike multiplier from 10%, and trap and mine damage now penetrates 4% from 5%, so there's another cut to miners. Vengeful commander now causes anger, hatred, and wrath to have 15% increased aura effect, previously 20%, so there's a slight buff. Oh no, that's a nerf. That's a 5% nerf as well. Oh, widespread destruction now grants 6% increased air effect from 10, so there's a 4% less. Oil changes, we already talked about oil changes. Basically we want to run silver oils and opalescent oils here for the 15. Basically we'll make 45 of our chests if we run 3 of these. And then for the lower ones you'll want to run azure oils instead of teal oils, so it's going to be rare to get them, and it's more expensive because it's a higher tier and you get one less. Yeah. Crafted veiled modifier balance, so there actually is some buffs here. Look at that. Well, I guess, did that change? Just, oh, they nerfed the chances, so the chances got nerfed. Basically they lowered all of the veiled modifiers from the benchcraft, so bench crafting a veiled modifier is lower than actually getting a veiled modifier on something. So this way it makes it so that veils are actually worth getting. So with that chaos special chaos orb, when you throw on there, it now puts a veiled modifier on there, so that veiled modifier is guaranteed to be better than your bench crafted veiled modifier. So that's why it makes that item actually worth it to use. Otherwise no one would use it, right? Because you just bench craft it yourself. So now with the veiled modifier, the veiled modifier is better. So good. Uniques, I'll kind of let you go through those if you want to. Wriggle's Quill unique no longer has projectiles. Fork modifier has been replaced with arrows fork with an arrows fork modifier, so basically you can't use it anymore for regular skills. It can only be used for arrow skills, bow skills. Physical damage is fire damage modifiers may replace physical damage fire damage modifiers. Yep, existing items will be updated in new version. Yeah, that's just rewording. Oh, because they want to do attack instead of just regular. Incursion unique changes. You can read all of those. I don't know any of those. Monster changes. Final bosses of each act had their drops reworked. Yes! This is really cool. They now drop both more and better items so that they can be profitable farmed if desired. So if you want to go and kill Kitava 20 times, I don't think anyone would want to do that, but let's say you want to go kill Kitava 20 times, you could probably get something really good off of him that you can't get anywhere else. So that's really nice. That's really nice. The base life of all harvest monsters have been reduced by 30 to 50%. However, they do have an increase of 100% extra life. Okay. Yeah, so basically they're becoming harder to kill. The allies cannot die aura has been removed, so it's been changed to Benevolent Guardian. Nemesis modifier has been added, which causes the monster with this specific modifier to apply an immortality buff to nearby allies for a short duration. If the original monster is slain, affected allies lose their immunity buff. Other monsters that have this Nemesis modifier cannot be given the immunity buff. Interesting. Rare monsters dominated by Cyrus have had their attack, cast speed, movement speed lowered. Good. Hungry and Flame no longer uses the ultimate Molten Shell skill. Yay. Bolthor's skill and Lieutenant Rage in the Labyrinth Crusader in the Crusader map has been visually updated and no longer has damage reflection. Good. All Pyramid and Arcane map bosses have had their health increased to bring them closer in line with the other map bosses. Zana. Here's our mods, guys, for the map device. We have Fortune Favors the Brave, which, you know, gives us anything like they always have. Essence, so you can get essences. Breaches, Bloodlines, which gives you 3 additional magic monster packs. Ambush for strong boxes. Harbinger for harbingers. Heist, so you can get contracts and blueprints and unique contracts. And Harvest. Area contains the Sacred Grove is guaranteed for 12 chaos. So if you get 1 good craft on there every single time you do a harvest, it pays for the map. But again, if you want to risk it by selling it on the TFT Discord, because if you're selling it for a vouch, it's considered a reward or something outside of the game, it is a bannable offense. So that's an interesting one. So that's good because you can guarantee yourself a Heart of the Grove or a Sacred Grove, but can't really sell them. We'll see what happens. We'll see if they actually ban for it or not. User interface changes. Copying an item description with Control C can now copies the item classes. That's kind of nice. Improved the SSF migration warning. Trade website changes. They basically add for influence can now be a sound of a pseudo tat has shaper influence. Quest rewards. Basically it's adding in new stuff. That's kind of nice. So some of the ones that weren't there before now has them, which is nice. PvP changes. I don't care about PvP, and then the rest is just bug fixes. Lots and lots and lots of bug fixes, and that's it. My goodness, that took an hour and 20 minutes to even just skim through some of that. Those are the changes. If we go back here, we can see, go here to the news and look at the patch notes, unfiltered and passive tree information. Okay, so New items. This is kind of an overview. We have these new items here, new item class. These are the new divination cards. We don't know what they do because they didn't say. Stackable currency. We have the Veiled Chaos Orb, which is the one that allows us to put a Veil mod onto any item with a catalyst, and then the new catalyst, then Tainted Oil, which is nice, which was going to be very, very good. Corrupt your blighted maps. Incubators, new scarabs. We have new item bases, but we don't know what they are yet because they didn't post them. I'm sure we'll get those tomorrow. And then here's the changes to the maps. So let's look at the tier 16. So what do we got for tier 16? We have Burial Chambers is tier 16, Arachnid Nest, Pit, Necropolis, Pit of Chimera, Lair of Hydra. Wait, what? Burial Chambers? Oh, so it's Burial Chambers, Arachnid, Pit, Necropolis, Pit of Chimera, Lair of Hydra. Right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Am I missing 2 of them? New crafting meta is Veiled Chaos and finish with a craft since Veiled doesn't count as a craft. Yep. Yeah, so you'll want to do it first, right? And you're not going to want to do it on an influence item, because you do it on an influence item, you can't harvest craft on it. All temple map. Wow, I don't like any of these. I really don't like any of these tier 16s. Burial Chambers is good, but I don't like. Wow, okay. Lava Lake is okay, but it's just so big. Summit, I mean, oh, there's no real good ones, is there? Plateau is a 13. Yikes. Wait, where's Beach? Where's Beach? There's no beach. Canyon map tier 3? What does that mean it puts it in over here? I don't know. Well, there you have it, guys. There it is. There's the patch notes. That's whew. What are we gonna do this league? We're probably gonna do zombie skeletons, to be honest. Zombie skeletons for our league start, just to get into our blighted maps. Do corrupted blighted maps the best we can with our Vol summon skeletons to help out. Do 3 clear oils with they didn't nerf ironically the scout towers, so we'll be doing scout towers for sure. Get those blight maps on there. Yeah, so that's that. If you have any questions, please put them in the comments below, and I will see you again. Maybe tomorrow we'll do the next announcement, depending on what it is, if it's exciting or not. And for sure on League Start, we're going to be streaming that League Start as much as I can. I still do have to take care of my kids, so we'll figure out how that works out with school and everything, but we will definitely be doing League Start, and